The world shattered in an instant when Alina received the news she never wanted to hear. Her fiancé, Arav, had been in a terrible accident. The phone slipped from her trembling hand as the words echoed in her mind, louder than the chaos around her. "He didn't make it," the voice had said, leaving her frozen in disbelief. Her knees buckled as she fell to the floor, clutching her chest as if trying to hold her heart together. The man who had been her best friend, her safe place, her forever, was gone in a matter of seconds. The days that followed were a blur of condolences, silence, and endless tears. The vibrant world they had dreamed of together crumbled into ashes, leaving only memories that cut like knives. Every corner of her home whispered his presence, yet screamed his absence. She had lost the one person who had promised to never leave her side, and with that, Alina lost herself too. Nights became her cruelest enemy, each one darker than the last. She lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling, haunted by his laughter that once filled the air. She replayed their last conversation over and over, wondering if she had said enough, loved him enough, held him tight enough. Grief consumed her, suffocating her spirit and dragging her deeper into despair. Friends tried to comfort her, but their words were empty, for no one could understand the gaping hole Arav's absence had left. Her days felt like endless shadows, time moving without meaning or mercy. Alina stopped painting, stopped smiling, stopped living, because what was the point without him? The world expected her to heal, but she had no desire to move on. To her, moving on felt like betrayal, as if letting go meant erasing him from her heart. And so she carried her grief like a wound that never closed, bleeding silently, invisibly, endlessly. But life has a strange way of intertwining paths when hope seems impossible. Months after his supposed death, Alina wandered into a small town far from home, hoping the change of scenery might numb her pain. She walked past a quaint little bookstore, her eyes catching on a familiar figure inside. Her heart skipped, then pounded wildly as if trying to break free. No, it couldn't be. She pressed closer to the glass, her breath fogging the window, staring at the man who looked so much like Arav. Her heart screamed his name, but her mind rejected it. He was gone. She had buried him in her heart with her own hands. Yet here he was, alive, turning pages of a book as though he had never left. Tears flooded her vision as disbelief gripped her. Was grief playing tricks on her, or had the impossible just become real? Her legs shook as she pushed open the bookstore door, the chime above ringing like a herald of fate. The man lifted his head, and in that instant the world tilted. His eyes met hers, familiar, warm, but carrying a strange emptiness. It was him, yet not fully him. "Arav?" she whispered, her voice breaking into a sob. But his expression was blank, his gaze searching her face without recognition. Alina's heart shattered all over again as the truth hit her. He was alive, yes, but he didn't remember her. The accident had stolen not just time, but their love, their life, their history together. She stood frozen, torn between joy and despair, wanting to run to him and yet afraid of what she might find. The man she loved was alive, but did he still belong to her? Tears streamed down her cheeks as she stumbled forward, unable to stop herself. "It's me." "Alina," she whispered, her voice trembling like a fragile thread. Arav tilted his head, his brows furrowing in confusion. There was no spark of recognition, only polite curiosity. The realization pierced through her chest like a blade. The love they had built, the promises they had made, all erased like words on a page. But in his eyes she still caught glimpses of the soul she knew, the heart that once beat for her. Alina didn't know whether to collapse in grief or hold on to hope. She had dreamed of finding him again, but never like this. Now she stood in front of the man she loved, forced to win him back from the grip of forgotten memories. And despite the pain, something deep within her refused to give up. The following days were a whirlwind of emotions. Alina lingered in the little town, visiting the bookstore where Arav now worked. She found excuses to talk to him, to be near him, to feel the comfort of his presence again. At first he treated her as a kind stranger, offering polite smiles and casual conversation. But with every passing day he began to notice her warmth, her kindness, the way her laughter carried a hint of something familiar. Alina poured her love into small gestures, bringing him his favorite tea, sharing stories, showing him places they once loved. Though he didn't remember, something inside him stirred whenever she was near. He didn't understand it, but her presence made his heart race in a way he couldn't ignore. And slowly, the invisible thread that bound them began to tug again. But love's journey back was not without trials. There were nights when Alina cried herself to sleep, wondering if she was chasing a ghost of the man she had lost. There were moments when Arav's blank stares crushed her, as if their years together had never existed. People warned her to move on, to stop torturing herself with what could never be. Yet Alina's heart refused to surrender. She believed love was not erased by memory. It lived in the soul deep and eternal, and no matter how long it took, she was willing to fight for it. She reminded him of their past, telling stories of their first date, their favorite songs, the night he had once promised forever. At times he smiled faintly as if something flickered inside him, though he quickly brushed it away. Still, she clung to that flicker, nurturing it with patience and hope. One evening, as the golden sun dipped into the horizon, Alina convinced Arav to walk with her by the river. The air was cool, filled with the scent of blooming flowers, the same place where they had once carved their initials on a tree. As they walked, she reached out hesitantly, her fingers brushing against his. He didn't pull away. Instead, he paused, his gaze softening as he looked at her. "Why do I feel like I've known you forever?" he murmured, confusion and longing mixing in his voice. Alina's heart swelled, tears blurring her vision. "Because you have," she whispered, holding his hand tightly. In that fleeting moment, she saw a spark, fragile but real, glowing in his eyes. It wasn't full recognition, but it was something. A reminder that love was stronger than memory, stronger than loss, stronger than fate. Over time, fragments of their past began to return to him, like puzzle pieces falling back into place. A song on the radio made him pause. A familiar cafe stirred nostalgia. Her laughter made him feel at home. The memories weren't clear, but the emotions were undeniable. Arav found himself drawn to Alina in ways he couldn't explain, as if his heart knew her even if his mind didn't. He began to trust the feelings that bubbled up inside him whenever she was near. The comfort, the peace, the undeniable pull. Slowly, the distance between them shrank, not through memory, but through love rediscovered. Alina no longer felt like a stranger in his eyes. She was becoming his safe place again, and in her heart, she knew that love had never truly left. It had only been waiting to be found again. Finally, one quiet night under the stars, Arav turned to her with tears glistening in his eyes. "I don't remember everything," he admitted softly, "but I remember how I feel when I'm with you. And that's enough." Alina broke down in his arms, her sobs muffled against his chest as relief and joy overwhelmed her. The man she thought she had lost forever had found his way back, not through memory, but through the heart that had always belonged to her. Their journey had been marked by pain, loss, and uncertainty, but love had prevailed. Love had defied time, memory, and fate itself. And as they held each other beneath the vast sky, Alina finally believed what she had always hoped, that true love is never lost. It may falter, it may fade, but it always finds its way home.